The annual water quality report is out, so I thought it'd be good to check in with Public Utilities Director David Jurgens to find a little bit about how our water's doing. Take a look. The annual water quality report is officially out. It's something that comes out every year, seems to me to be kind of like a report card for our water. So the big question is, how's our water?
Our water's great. Our water really is great. We have the most advanced types of treatment in the country. We've got reverse osmosis at one plant down by the Northwest River on South Battlefield, and that is the absolute top of the line of water treatment anywhere really in the world. It's the same type of water treatment that they use on board aircraft carriers and on board ships and things. It's the best you can get. It's also, unfortunately, the sad side effect of that is that it also tends to be the most expensive water treatment that's out there. But it makes great quality water.
So
And
why
then,
do we have to release this report every year? Really, what's the point of this kind of annual reporting?
well, it started about 20 years ago, and the purpose is so that there's full disclosure, so that people can know every single thing that's in the water, everything we measure, what we test for, and sometimes it discusses things that are in the raw water, and then also the things that are mostly in the finished water. And so, it's just so we tell everybody what's in it, and
Now,
the report is vetted by the health department, and so it's to make sure that it's got quality control checked on the information. A lot of the information comes back to us from the health department that goes into the report.
now, how often are you actually testing the water that comes into our homes every day? How do you do that testing?
Well, and we've got a full-time laboratory with both biologists and chemists, and so the we test every single day for operational testing as the water goes through the process. So in both plants have a lab for operational testing, and then we've got our full testing, our bigger testing lab at the Northwest plant. And inside the lab, there's lots of faucets that are labeled where they come from in the plant process. Those faucets run continuously so that the water that comes out of the faucet is actually what's being processed, so that we don't have any stopping of that water.
Mm.
And so we sample every single day for process water. And then we also sample hundreds of samples a month throughout the distribution system, where we test for bacteriological samples. And then we also do other types of samples for just different stuff that we do throughout the distribution system. So we sample in the plant for process water. We sample in the plant regularly for compliant samples. And then we also sample throughout the distribution system almost continuously. We'll sample about 3 weeks a month, and we have 1 month to get all the results, or 1 week to get all the results back. Then we start the next month's samples.
So if we've learned anything from 2020, it's the importance of the basics. And of course, water is one of those critical utilities. Um, what can people expect as we start to see the bills come in for the past few months? People have been at home more. Should they be anticipating anything different? They're not using their employers' water anymore. So what should people be prepared for?
Well, I'll use my house as an example. Our 13-year-old and our 17-year-old were at home a whole lot more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
normal. And sometimes teenagers can be kind of full of it. So so our water bill went up during the
Uh-huh.
time when they've been at home the whole time. And we've now, because we were quarantined much of March, April, May, and now most of the way through June. People should have already seen at least one bill that covers predominantly quarantine period. And our residential bills are up, maybe 10 to 15%. Our residential consumption, as we measure, has been up as well. And of course, our commercial or non-residential consumption has gone down.
Sure.
So we expected that balance would happen, and in fact, it has. Our total production of what we've sold to customers is about the same. So, and we've been comparing over the last 2 years to this year on a daily basis, and we track this very close. We do updates every week, but we track daily production and then monthly production. And so production is about the same. Residential balance went up, commercial balance went down. And so the residential customers' bills will be a little bit higher than what they're used to, just because you're stuck at home. You're using more water.
Sure.
I don't know if there was a shortage of commercial toilet paper, but there was darn sure a shortage of residential toilet
That's
paper.
right. There sure was.
And
There
it had to
sure
be
was.
going for a reason.
Well, and that's something we talk about every year during summer months, or for your bills directly following summer months. People get them and they think maybe something's wrong, but in fact, it's just a matter of consumption.
It's just a matter of more consumption, more dishes, more toilet flushes, more showers, just more of everything.
All right. David, what else do you want to tell our customers before we wrap up? Anything else?
Well, how many times do you wash your hands now compared to what you used to?
Ah, you're right. Yep.
You know, there's lots of little things that have caused that consumption to go up because my hands, they get really tired of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
for our customers, we know that times have been hard. We get that. Uh, they can rest assured that we have absolutely taken the best quality with their water. When this hit, I had a conversation with the city manager, very first when they first started talking quarantine. And I walked in, it was him and our director of emergency management. I said, what group of people in this city are the most important in the entire city to the public health and safety of our city as a whole? And the city manager nailed it. He said, your water plant operators. I said, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
So because, God bless our doctors and firemen and police officers and our nurses and our medical staff. But frankly, we've got hundreds and hundreds of them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that many water plant operators. We've got less than 2 dozen.
Wow.
And so they have to run those plants, and each plant is a 3-person shift 24/7. So
Mm.
those folks, we don't have a lot of redundancy. So we've got backup plans and then even more backup plans. But on day one, we put a bubble around our plants.
Mm.
People don't go in, they don't go, we are protecting those folks as much as
Yeah.
we possibly can to make sure we can continue producing that excellent quality water. Because think about what would happen if Chesapeake had to go on a boil order,
Yeah.
the whole city. That would be
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah.
So we in the industry, everybody was working together on knowing this, but there's just not a whole pool of operators out there to draw from in case we had a problem. So, if we started getting one team go down, that could be a real issue. So we isolated teams from each other. So we'd have a shift not meet another shift, so that they
Mm.
didn't physically overlap. So we didn't share germs. Between each shift, we sanitized the room. Some of my
Wow.
people didn't like it, but while they're in the control room, they had to keep their mask on
Yeah. Yeah.
because we didn't want to be risking getting germs on surfaces. So we took very, very strong precautions to protect the people so they could continue to provide that critical service to the public.
Absolutely. Well, we are certainly grateful to you and all the men and women who work in the Public Utilities Department. Keep that good water coming, David. We need
We'll do that.
it.
I promise.
Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you, Liz.